Unless you've been living under a rock, you have most likely come across the term quiet quitting.
The concept of quiet quitting.
People are quiet quitting.
Quiet quitting.
Quiet quitting.
Quiet quitting.
Quiet quitting.
Quiet quitting.
Quiet quitting is a term that was popularized recently with employees that are just at a job for the paycheck and aren't really emotionally or intellectually engaged. It's about doing the bare minimum and not going above and beyond. Quiet quitting has many dimensions, and I don't know about not being emotionally or intellectually engaged, but in the corporate world, employers with low employee retention often do not reward high performers properly, and that is why they end up either quiet quitting by doing just the bare minimum, or they find another company to work for that would pay them what they truly deserve for being outstanding employees. I personally don't like the term quiet quitting because a person is not actually quitting their job. They're just taking care of themselves, and a healthier, happier employee is a more productive employee. A lot of people would also argue that quiet quitting is not a thing because if you are hired to do something, you should be expected to do the thing that you are hired for and not more or less than that. I think that's fair. I mean, in contractual terms between organizations, doing more than what is specified in a contract has a term, which is scope creep. And nobody really talks about individual employee scope creep when bosses ask employees to stay at work outside of their shifts or do more than what they were hired for, but that's a whole other topic. In this video, I want to talk about quiet quitting when it comes to your dreams, your goals, your resolutions, your side hustle, your entrepreneurship, and why quiet quitting might be a good thing for most people who have big aspirations and want to do something about it, but find themselves stuck in a rut. If you have a day job and you are a quiet quitter, then you know that you go to work, attend a couple of meetings, do a few things, put in minimal effort to keep the machine going, and probably spend the rest of your time pretty much doing nada. Why don't you do the same thing, but for the thing that you want to achieve, that you care about? Why not do 1 to 2 small things for the dream you want for yourself every single day? There's a biological explanation to why we love setting goals more than actually pursuing them. When we first set a goal, our dopamine level rises and we feel so excited about getting started. But as soon as you start working on your goal, your dopamine level takes a hit until you are about to achieve the goal you've been working for. That's when you get another dopamine level spike. I think quiet quitting is a good tool to utilize when you're in that space between setting a goal and almost achieving it. That space is the one with the most resistance and the one in which you will find it the most difficult to push yourself. What happens is that most people just quit because they don't feel the same satisfaction from doing the work as they did when they started. But that's why I think quiet quitting, rather than quitting altogether, works because you will be doing the bare minimum. You will be doing the things that you can easily do even when you don't have an ideal day. When you put one foot in front of the other and power through, eventually, as your efforts pile up, you're gonna find yourself closer to achieving your goal and getting that second dopamine hit, which will give you that second boost and euphoric feeling of excitement and accomplishment. I'm a huge fan of author James Clear, and I love this quote of his. He says, "Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. A small habit, when repeated consistently, grows into something significant." If you think about it, quiet quitting is a good habit to develop because on the worst day, you will still be doing something. For example, if you're an author and you're in the middle of writing a book but feel uninspired on any given day, and you decide that your way of quiet quitting is to write 200 words a day, then you are developing a habit of doing the bare minimum that will take you to where you want to go eventually. I love the example James Clear mentions in his book Atomic Habits about how small adjustments add up to larger changes over time. He likened it to what happens when you shift the nose of an airplane that's headed to New York by 3.5 degrees. The plane will end up in Washington, D.C. The small actions you take every day may seem insignificant when you do them, but if you do them every day, the compound interest in a year's time of taking 365 small steps toward your aspiration will have a huge impact. When results start to emerge from the little steps that you take every day for the things you truly care about, your motivation levels are going to skyrocket, and you're going to naturally shift gears from quiet quitting to fully giving everything you have to something that you are passionate about and brings you fulfillment and joy. I think a lot of people find that their aspirations are too big, so they don't exactly know where to start or how the road ahead looks for them, and that demotivates them. The mountain is so high that they simply can't comprehend the amount of time, work, and hardships it will take to climb it. If you're struggling with this, then quiet quitting is perfect for you because it's going to force you to break down your goals into smaller micro goals that you are able to do every day. Some people struggle with the all or nothing mindset. All or nothing refers to thinking in extremes. You are either a success or a failure. Your performance was totally good or totally bad. If you're not perfect, then you are a disaster. This kind of thinking will not lead you anywhere because you cannot be a success without starting somewhere. So if you don't start, then you are actually choosing to fail. You are choosing the nothing in all or nothing. You want it all, but you're not doing anything about it. If you're okay with nothing, then more power to you. But if you're struggling and you know that your fear of failure is holding you back, then it's time to quiet quit your dream. Do the bare minimum for it. You owe yourself and your dream at least that. If you're one of the millions of people who set goals for themselves at the beginning of the year when they're excited about making a change only to go back to their old ways 2 or 3 weeks later, then this video will hopefully help you get back on track to living your best life. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week.